Well, good morning, my beautiful people of TikTok. It's nice to see you this morning. I figured I'd come on live here before I went live on YouTube to give you guys the breaking daily updates. This is sponsored by our subscribers here on the Bullhorn Betty channel here on TikTok. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like, share, hit the notification button, and of course, talk about this case because this is about a 15-year-old boy, Sebastian Rogers. But before we get into that, I want to make sure that I don't know why this does this. Hold on a second. Let me see what I can do here. I don't know why it does this. Somebody must be here bright and early this morning. It's probably coffee. My fans, they send me coffee first thing in the morning some days. Anyways, we're going to be talking about the daily updates. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Somebody did bring me some breakfast. Breakfast and coffee. Coffee, and more coffee. Holy crap. Whoever did that, thank you. All right, guys, we'll get started in just a second. Let me get all my coffee off the ground. Got to be the people from the coffee club on YouTube. They love me. Coffee has been served. I don't know who the lucky person is I need to thank. Well, actually, I'm the lucky person, but I don't know who the person is I need to thank. So what beautiful people. Anyways, getting back to these cases, I'm just going to put this down there we go. I don't know why it doesn't give me my green screen options, but I'm going to go through a bunch of stuff here with you guys real quick. Elijah Vu. He's our 3-year-old from Two Rivers, Wisconsin. He hasn't been seen or heard. His mom and her boyfriend, his mom, Katrina Bauer, and her boyfriend, Jesse Vang, are behind bars at this moment. They're not telling anybody anything related to what happened. They've lawyered up. They're not cooperative. And this boy has been missing for weeks. The searchers are keeping up the hope. They keep going out there. Jesse Vang or Katrina Bauer had a hearing a day or two ago, and the searchers were there. And I have to tell you, when the camera crews interviewed the searchers, those searchers broke down and were crying. You know, they are emotionally invested in this young boy, and they just want to see this young boy come home. And obviously each passing day, look at that beautiful face. That is a gorgeous little boy, right? And he was last seen February 16th that I've personally been able to confirm. And based upon the information from law enforcement, he hasn't been seen since the night of the 16th. He was left in a car the night of the 16th in sub-freezing temperatures, and they hadn't seen him since. So that's Elijah Vu. I don't know if you guys know Crystal Rogers. I've done a few stories here on TikTok related to Crystal Rogers. This is her boyfriend, Brooke Houks. This is one of his employees. This is Joseph Lawson and his father. They are behind bars right now. Finally, she disappeared in 2015, the July 4th weekend of 2015, has never been heard or seen again. And they had him under suspicion, but the case went cold in 2016. And subsequently, following Crystal Rogers' death, her father was gunned down on his property, and they believe it's by his brother, Nick Houks. So this is like a really saucy case, and we're going to keep going through here. This is just to let you guys know that Chase Morgan, this is just financial stuff for my audience to realize that Morgan Chase, Bank of America, 6 other financial giants had to pay $70 million in a settlement over widespread fraud and collusion. I just thought that was interesting information that I thought my audience would be interested in. And of course, related to the whistleblower, I'll do a video on that. So now we're getting to Sebastian Rogers. This is basically the case that's being covered very widely right now. The Seth Rogers, this is the biological father of Sebastian. and he has been out there for days searching for his son. There has been some major family dysfunction between the Proudfoots and the Rogers family, but Seth Rogers just needs a break, and it sounds like he's handing over the keys to the Cajun Navy to continue their efforts searching for his son. It sounds like, because a lot of people are, I'm a little butthurt with the Cajun Navy, a couple different things related to that. One is, it seems like every time I hear anything from the Cajun Navy spokesperson, he's always dogging social media. Well, sir, you got your reputation because of social media, so let's just, chill with that. But it does seem like every time I turn around, David Flagg has something to say about, his disdain for social media personalities and what we do. And so that really it really does wear on me, because we as social media are what's giving them the platform to do the work. And, they do disaster relief. We don't ever want to jeopardize their work in that. But I guess my point is why are they dogging social media, especially when we can get, in many cases, more views than the mainstream media. And what's bringing this up is because there's been some talk about how people are live streaming the searches. Well, people were live streaming the searches for Riley Strain as well. And the Cajun Navy has News Nation on their boat live streaming their search efforts. And then all of a sudden, social media creators are out there in the woods searching, and now they don't want anything to do with people live streaming searches. It just seems to me like they don't mind live streaming searches as long as it's mainstream media. But when it comes to social media, again, they start dogging on the people out there searching. And it really just kind of rubs me the wrong way in part, I definitely support their work. I definitely like the mission that they have. And, they do all this stuff from a labor of love. They don't charge these families a dime. And they're putting heart and soul, but it's a team effort. And when you come in and you tell everybody to stand down, that we're going to be taking over, like I don't play those pissing contests with anybody. I'll do as I damn well please. I'm going out there to do my own search efforts. I don't ask anybody for permission. I'm not going to start asking the Cajun Navy whether I have permission to go out there and search. I'm an American citizen, and I'll do as I damn well please, as long as it's within the confines of the law. Again, I'm Bullhorn Betty. The next time I ask for permission is to go to heaven. Now, I don't know if I'm getting in the pearly gates, but I surely am trying, right? So that's just kind of where I stand on that particular thing. And of course, this is the boy that's been missing, a 15-year-old autistic boy, Sebastian Rogers, and his parents are acting very peculiar. They've changed their story. They've changed the timeline. They've added a third person. Then they went out there while everybody else is searching and decides to threaten Seth Rogers about the GoFundMe. We believe that he's the one that was bitching about the federal property and got the searchers kicked off. And it's just all these weird behaviors from a man that says he cares about Sebastian, and he wants to know the whereabouts, and he's been asking for all social media to come out there and help and assist, right? Debbie, thank you. God bless you. I usually don't come on this early, but you know what? I noticed that TikTok's like dead in the mornings. So why not talk about true crime, right? I'm coffee and true crime all day long, and it's really not, for me, it's not true crime. It's advocation for these people. I know for the audience, it's, a puzzle. I know that for the audience, it's, entertainment in part, and I get that. But I know that you guys are supporting, good causes, and you really want to see these kids' cases solved. So it's one of those things where we just do our best and try to get as much information out there and try to get as much audience support and help in getting these faces and names out there. That's really the name of the game. But he's been missing for a long time, and then the mom and father literally drive off, dude. Like, they pack up the RV and attach it, the fifth wheel, and attach it to his truck, and they take off right in the middle of searching. Like, the mother, and I can't stress this enough because I don't know what audience is here in the morning versus what's here at night, but I was like almost in tears last night because I'm like, this mom left her son Like literally left her son fucking behind. Thank you, Monica. She got into a car, like we just all watched Riley Strain, and I say this and I feel like a broken record, but I don't know how to express it in any other way. You know, we watched Riley Strain's mom just die on TV. You know, her heart broke. We watched that woman literally day by day, her heart just literally tear apart and just, you know, just come out of her chest. We watched it. We all watched it. We all felt it. And this mom just wants one more day with her child. And then you look at the Proudfoots, and Katie is literally, she's got a special needs son. And when the search efforts are underway near their home, they freaking take off. They get in their car, they load up the RV, he's driving the truck in the RV, Katie's in the car behind him, and they take off. They just got done telling everybody the day before that law enforcement told them to sit at home, not to do nothing. And so they haven't been aiding in any search efforts for Sebastian at all. None. And when people ask him about that, they say it's because law enforcement tells them to stay home. On the same day that law enforcement tells them to stay, or they tell the world that law enforcement tells them to stay home, they're seen at a restaurant eating barbecue out in the public. Okay, well, if you were told to stay home and you couldn't be out in the public to help search for your son, why can you be out in the public to eat dinner? Because if you can be an hour out in the public to eat dinner, you would assume that you have an hour of your time to search for your boy. But that wasn't the case. And instead of that being met with, you know what, you're right, I should go out and search. No, they end up calling all the social media creators to find out who posted that picture of them. Not concerned about the search, not the concern about Sebastian being missing for 4 weeks. I misspoke, I think, yesterday or the day before and said 5 weeks, but it's been 4 weeks. And they can go out to dinner, but they can't go out and search for him. And then all of a sudden, yesterday, they pack up and leave the house again after they say that they're told not to leave the home, and that's the reason why they can't search. Now they're loading up in their vehicle and leaving their home. But it's not to search for Sebastian. It's to run away. It's to run away. Now, they're not on the run. I don't want you to misunderstand me. They're not on the run. There's no court order forcing them to stay. There's no arrest record that I'm aware of for either Katie or Christopher. So with that being said, they are allowed to move around freely. Let me look and see if anybody has any questions. Sorry, guys, I never remembered the comments. Oh, you guys are lovely. Look at you all this morning. You guys are up ridiculously early. I just want to tell you, nobody's really up with me. That's why I made the coffee club, so I can find all the crazy people awake in the morning, double fisting coffee, right? That's what we want, right? This is what the coffee club is all about. Sky. It's nice, Sky and siblings. Okay, it's nice to see you, love. Thank you for the support and thank you for the subscription. Don't forget, you guys can subscribe. Our monthly subscriptions are what sponsor our morning lives here on TikTok, just to kind of discuss these cases and to go over them a little more in detail on these lives. Let's see what we got here. And then we've got, yeah, I forgot. Holy crap. How did I forget this? You guys remember that first interview that they gave? This one right here where he's wearing this shirt. And Katie was saying that, and I don't know if this is going to show. I'm hoping this shows. It doesn't show well. Shoot. I wish there was a way I could edit the photo. Is there a way to edit the photo? Effects, sound effects, dual, background. Okay. Yeah, no, it doesn't look like there's a way to. Anyways, guys, this picture right here, those little circles right down here, these red things, on his arms, there are, I wonder if I can see him here. Can I see him? No, you can barely see it, but you can see some of the redness and bruising right down here. But he's got, when he did this interview, and this was the very first interview the Proudfoots did, and I can't remember the news organization that they did this interview with, but this right here is the first interview that we know of. And this interview right here, on his arms, on both arms, mind you, Both arms. Not one, both arms. Right here on all this. It's all scratched up. It's all scratched up. But it's not that. And so when people were asking, and he was on Smiley's World. Do I have Smiley's World in here? Hold on. Let me see if I got a picture of her channel. I'm not sure if I do. Shoot. That kind of sucks. But yeah, you can't really see. But up in his arms here, they got it cut off here. But there's scratches on both arms. And those scratches have bruising. And I'm thinking, he said that they were from the dogs. And I'm like, I don't know of any dog that, it's a Yorkie. These are tiny dogs. I mean, here, I'll show you the dogs. Because they were on Sebastian, right here. Am I there? Those things. Those are the Yorkies, right there. Those tiny little dogs, right there. Those are what Chris Proudfoot said scratched him. So if this scratched him, why does he have bruising, like circular bruising around these scratches first and foremost, and it's on both arms? It's not one. It's literally both arms. And people question him. He says it's the dogs. I say bullshit. There's no way the dogs left maybe the scratches, but I looked at the scratches, and some of those scratches, in all fairness, they look like bite marks to me. But I don't want to spread misinformation because I wouldn't want the Cajun Navy to criticize or be mean to social media anymore. So I'll withhold my thought. Sorry. You guys know I'm a smart ass when people piss me off. And I don't like people talking shit about social media. I realize that there's bad actors on social media. Don't get me wrong. I realize there's bad actors. But when do we paint a broad brush in any other sector of our lives? Right? Color, religion, criminal, whatever. We never paint that broad of a brush. But it seems like every time I turn around, it's people like Cajun Navy, which, again, got all their fame mostly for social media, dogging social media. I hate that. It's so hypocritical. But Chris Proudfoot, in my opinion, was there, and I said it several times as to why I feel he was at the house. It's because I know construction, okay? I'm a lively girl, okay? Many people don't know on TikTok how lively I am. I am a Jackie of all trades, master of none, okay? I can do electrical work, plumbing work. I can work on my car. I've worked on construction sites. I've owned a handyman business. I've worked in offices. I got an AA and paralegal. Like, I'm a worldly person from book smarts to street smarts to a lot of different fields. And that's no shit. It's just because I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do with my life, right? Just like many people. But instead of me just sitting around twiddling my thumbs, I went and tried and explored different things, okay? So, I know one thing I do know is construction. I've been in construction since I was 2 years old. I've been on my dad's truck working on the job since I was 2 years old, okay? I'm sure I was a baby. He was just babysitting me, and I was just handing him his tools. But to me, I was working, okay? 2 years old. Child labor laws. They didn't exist when I was growing up. But I knew what a channel lock was, right? There's probably people who are like, what the hell's a channel lock? Okay? 2 years old, knew what a channel lock was. Knew what needle nose pliers were, okay? But one thing I know is that construction workers work very hard throughout the week. Typically on Fridays, they get their check around 2 p.m. and most of them take the rest of the day off. There's a lot of alcoholism in construction, okay? It is what it is. So these people want to get to the bars before everybody else does. So it's always been a common thing. People in construction get off. Now, he may work for a major company that doesn't play those types of games. They work 9 to 5, or 8 to 5, or 7 to 2, or 7 to 3, or whatever it may be. But I have to think that they start early in the day like most construction companies, and they get off earlier in the day, don't work until 5. They're usually wrapped up 5, and that means cleaning and everything else. Thank you, Stella. God bless you. So what I'm trying to say in this long dissertation is that I believe this man would have went home. He wouldn't have been working on the weekend. He worked all week. So he's only 3.5 hours away. It's not like it's a 12 or 13 hour drive. I mean, you're talking about a 3.5 hour drive. I don't see, it doesn't make sense to me, or for anybody for that matter, that a man that has a family that's off on the weekend, only 3.5 hours away, would be coming home on the weekend. It just seems probable that he would be there. But I haven't been able to confirm by anybody or anything that I can sleuth here. When I get my boots on the ground, maybe I'll find out. whether anybody saw him that weekend in and around that town. I hear neighbors have cameras. They obviously have cameras on their house. Now we're going to talk about like the behavior of Sebastian. You know, Sebastian Rogers had a snake. You guys remember that photo of the snake? Let me see if I can find it. I know I took a picture. I think I took a picture of it this morning. I may not have. Hold on. Let me go into my reel and see if I can find it. I know I've got it. I thought I had it. There it is. There it is. This right here. So you see how happy this boy is, right? And he's so happy that he has a snake on. I found out that Chris Proudfoot sold this snake, and I think he said it in some type of interview because somebody was bringing it up about how Sebastian. Now remember, Sebastian's an autistic boy, and apparently Chris was upset that he was not taking proper care of his snake. When you have an autistic child, I think that would have been a family task, not just Sebastian's task. And look how happy he looks with this snake. He looks very, very happy, very proud, just, you know. And to think that his stepdad took that snake away from him and sold it. I mean, I think he told the whole world that he sold it to a friend or gave it to a friend or something like that. And the friend was just keeping it. And when Sebastian was old enough to take care of it, he'd get it back. Well, listen. Chris Proudfoot's friend, or whoever he gave the snake to, decided to come out and acknowledge that, yes, they are the ones that did take the snake. And no, that was not the terms of them taking the snake. They had never kept that snake for the return to Sebastian. As a matter of fact, their job, their business is selling snakes and had every anticipation of selling this snake, but have decided to keep it so they can return it to Sebastian upon his safe return home. So everything that's coming out of the Proudfoot's mouth has been a lie, guys. So now we have Chris Proudfoot with scratches and bruises up and down his arms days after this boy disappeared. You have no evidence of this boy walking out of his home the night in question. We have some video. I'm not going to elaborate on what's on that video because I really don't know. Somebody's telling me it's flashlights and movement, but I don't know if it is. That's just what somebody's telling me, and I like to make the decisions for myself, so I don't know. So were those flashlights, were those people? It's possible, but I don't know. So we do have some type of event that went on near the Proudfoot home around 3 o'clock in the morning the night he disappeared, which is suspect. No matter how you look at it, according to Katie's story, she went to bed at midnight. Now, if something happened inside that home, I just want to throw this out there for everybody. If something did happen inside that home and Chris was not there, at 12 o'clock at night, Chris has all the time in the world to come from his job to that home, help Katie, take care of business, and get back to his job by the time his job started that Monday morning. He had the time to do that. Because it's my understanding that it's 3 hours and 15 minutes, or sorry, 2 hours and 15 minutes up to 3 hours to get from their house to his job site, depending on the time and depending on the traffic flow. So, I mean, at middle of the night, I'd have to think hardly anybody's on the road. He could probably have gotten back there. I mean, conservatively, maybe in 2.5 hours, 2 hours and 45 minutes. That's a total round trip of 5 hours or 5.5 hours, leaving him plenty of time to do something about a half hour, 45 minutes before he needed to be reporting to work. So I'm not sure, their story obviously doesn't make sense. Katie Proudfoot said he left without shoes. Katie Proudfoot said he doesn't have friends. Katie Proudfoot and Chris Proudfoot said that there's no way that he was online, so there's no online threat. He wouldn't just walk off with anybody. And we have searchers that were there a day after, or that same day, saying they have no evidence that this boy even walked out of the house. Now you have them going on social media, them answering the tough questions and trying to clear their name. And the more they try to clear their name, the more they're digging themselves in a hole, because Chris's first behavior is not right and not that of somebody that is missing a boy. He's more concerned about his image and his reputation than he is about finding Sebastian. And when we hear on social media, hear that, we have a major problem with that. Let's face it. We have a major problem when somebody is talking more about themselves or their reputation than their missing child. And that's what we felt was going on. And Katie's just sitting there, dazed and confused, just sitting there quietly while her husband takes over literally every conversation and doesn't say anything. And I keep wondering, is she terrified of him? You know, when is she going to start screaming out for help to get away from him? I mean, you know, in a grand scheme of things, no excuse at all. And she should be punished for her involvement. You know, right now, she's putting herself as the only person being with him alone. How do we know she didn't do something to him? How do we know that she didn't take him out and dispose of him somewhere unbeknownst to Chris? We don't. But we know something happened to him, and we knew one of the two people, if not both of them, know exactly what it is. So, I don't know what's going on. It sounds like the Cajun Navy is going to be back out there. I can tell you my search efforts and everything are going to be not associated with the Cajun Navy at all. I'm doing my own thing. I'm looking at my own maps. I'm deriving my own information, and I'm executing my own area that I think might be interesting to search and to look into. So it is what it is. Hey guys, thanks for joining in, by the way. I have not yet seen him shed. Nobody has, Sky. Nobody's shed a tear. That's the problem. Even Katie, outside of that first interview. But think about it. You know, I try to really put myself in the situation. And I have to think that, you know, for Katie's part, she's in this abusive, if it truly is, she's in this abusive relationship with this controlling man, and she just watched this man kill her kid. It makes me, you know, wonder about her safety. I'm angry with her. I think she needs, she's had every opportunity to call for help and she chose not to. She needs to be held accountable. But now that if we think Chris did this to Sebastian, we have to think seriously about the health and well-being of Sebastian's mother. Because in all fairness, she's the only one with information that will directly relate Chris to whatever happened to him. So she is a perp as well as a witness, if that makes sense. But she's still this boy's mother, and I can't imagine that she actually thought that this would happen unless it was planned. I mean, there was a custody issue going on. It sounded like Sebastian was going to live with his father. I keep wondering what happened surrounding that whole situation that caused this change in custody. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if they didn't have to go to court and get a court order for the change of custody from Katie over to Seth, it just makes me wonder why, if Sebastian's been living in Katie's care for all this time, why now? You know what I'm saying? Not that Seth doesn't deserve custody of his son. That's not what I'm trying to say. But my point is like, why now? Why are they doing this now? Is there something going on in Chris and Katie's household that's being disruptive and they just want this boy out? And then if that is the case, how much money are they losing by Sebastian going to live with his biological father? And I hate even calling Seth his biological father. You know what? It really pisses me off that I've got to call Seth his biological father instead of just his father, because Chris has been all over social media talking about this being his boy. So everybody naturally just thinks Chris is his father, and it's not, it's Seth. And now I've got to call Seth, which is Sebastian's dad, his biological father. It just seems so wrong. It just seems so wrong for me.
I'm a mom of 4 humans and a mom of 6 fur babies. I would lose my mind yes! And we see what moms that lose their mind and just riddled with grief and worry. I mean, go look at any video with Riley Strain's mother if you want to know what an authentic concern for your child and truly not knowing whether your child is dead or alive. Riley Strain's mother is a prime example of the uncontrollable motions that go along with this. You don't control your tears. You don't control your pain. You don't control, it's uncontrollable. You see what I'm saying? Like, when you're going through this, do you think that woman thought in her head, here, let me cry? No, she couldn't help it. And we've got Katie Proudfoot sitting there in the interviews going, I just don't understand why he walked out the door. No tears, no grief. Even in their first interview, she has a tissue in her hands and touches her nose and turns her head, but doesn't really cry. This is her son that she just pulled away from his home and left her missing autistic son behind. I just want that to sink in. I don't know if I'm going to get off that. For those that are out there, I'm going into Tennessee. I'm hoping to be there by Wednesday. I'm waiting for the mechanic to call me when their mechanic shop opens to let me know whether I'm getting my car back today or not. But it sounds like I'm getting my car back sometime today. So we'll see how that all works out. As soon as I get my car back, I was going to go right there, but I can't because I got meetings tomorrow that are already on the schedule. So I have to go to my meetings, and as soon as my meetings are wrapped up, I'm going to jump right on the road and get there. Hold on, sorry, I'm having problems with my chat here real quick. Hold on. Thank you, Rosario, for the rose. God bless you. Also, she said she heard noises from her room but didn't check on him because he's 15. Sky, you know what? Hey, Kelly, or Kel, is that right, Kel? It's nice to see you. Thank you for the rose. You know what, though? But see, I'm not sure about this noise thing because what I don't like is new information, like being entered into the story. For example, we have 2 interviews with Chris and Katie. We have those 2 with news organization. One was in the green shirt. Let me see if I can pull that back up here. One was in this green shirt, right? And then the other one was just her and his hands kind of clasped together, and they just gave an interview just showing their hands. Just their behavior is really weird. Like, parents don't go through all this trouble when they're trying to get their face of their child out there to the public. But they were just acting weird from the beginning. That whole hand thing was bullshit. So I thought for sure after the interview where they just focused on their hand, there was going to be no interviews. And then lo and behold, I get a notification on YouTube that Chronicles of Olivia just dropped a video where she interviewed them. And I'm like, oh my God, they interviewed. I didn't think they were going to do another interview. Well, apparently they did. And so I went over there and looked at it, and immediately that's when all the changes happened in their story, Sky. So that's when the introduction of the noise in the room. Her first 2 stories was that she had no problem putting him to bed, and he went right to bed. So in the Chronicles of Olivia story, they added a third party. The cousin came over. They added the noise coming from the room, and they added Katie driving around the block and to the school before they called 911. All major changes in the timeline as well as the story. So I don't know about that noise. I don't trust that noise to be true because it took her so long before that noise was ever known to the world, because she didn't. If you go back and look at all the other interviews, you never hear anything about it until the Chronicles of Olivia interview, and that's when the noise was introduced. So by the Chronicles of Olivia interview, since they had already, my first would have been to call 911. Exactly. And according to this interview right here where he was wearing this shirt, they did just that. She said, according to this interview here, she said that she woke up at 6 a.m. She went into his room and he was not there. And she kind of freaked a little bit, but she went around and checked some of the places and immediately called her husband. I think she even said, I think out of her own mouth, she even said within 3 minutes. And it's like, okay. So within 3 minutes, she called, and he pipes in on this interview where he's wearing this shirt and says, yes, she called me and I said, well, did you check here, here, and here? And she went and checked there, and we immediately three-wayed 911 is what he said. We immediately three-wayed 911. That's what they maintained in this interview here and the one where their hands were clasped and it was only focused on their hands. That's what was said. Now, with the Chronicles of Olivia interview, that story also changed. Now, Katie Proudfoot, she states that she woke up that morning on the Chronicles of Olivia interview. She says she woke up that morning, that she went into the room. She didn't see him. She said some explicitives. She's like, where the F are you? And these other things. And so she went and checked places that Sebastian was, and she called her husband and gets in her car, drives around the block, goes to the school. Then her husband starts coughing. She gets a little distracted and says, and we called 911 on three-way. So the interview with Olivia, right at the very beginning, the first 5 minutes, she totally killed the story she said here. She changed it completely around. You don't find major changes in a storyline like that from a parent unless there's a reason for them to change their storyline that drastically. I mean, it was drastically changed. And then you couple that with the searchers coming to the area and Chris having a major problem with the searchers being in the area and Seth being there, and the fact that Seth has a GoFundMe going on. Now, mind you, this is stepdad and Seth is real dad. And stepdad is telling real dad that he's not allowed to have a GoFundMe for the kid that went missing under stepdad's watch, and then threatens him with a lawsuit. So then I started coming after Chris Proudfoot very, very hard on social media. And then I come across the picture of them being out to dinner on the day that they tell everybody that they're told to stay home and they can't search because they have to stay at the house. And they're out to dinner. And so then he gets angry with people. And then the very next day, when searchers are there, they literally get in their vehicle and take off. These parents, they're going down. I've seen a lot of cases in my days. There's not a doubt in my mind that these parents know exactly what happened to Sebastian Rogers. And it's based upon all that information. And that's their own behavior. That's not even me. I'm not making it up. And never mind, they were the last ones to see the kid alive. So, man, we have a lot of crazy people up ridiculously early. So we have 545 people in chat this morning. So it's nice to see you all here. I'm Bullhorn Betty. We're talking about the Sebastian. Well, every morning I do like kind of a roll through cases of, all the updates on the cases. This is part of it. I'm just spending a little extra time on the Proudfoots because it's the case that I'm going to be covering the most and heavily on TikTok for the next few days of foreseeable future. I'm gearing up to go out there and aid in the efforts. I would have already been out there, but my car has been in the shop for 2 weeks, and I'm hoping and praying that I get it back today. And as soon as I get it back today, I will be mobile again, and we will be on the road. So I'll be coming live to you from different locations. Oh, thank you, Riveting. It's nice. Thank you so much. God bless you. And we're going to do our thing. And I'm just going to say this, and I want people out there to say it to them too. The Cajun Navy needs to be a little nicer to social media. I don't like the way that they're treating us. I don't like the way they're talking about us. It's not fair, especially since they are social media. Okay? We're out here all trying to do our best. And when we have an organization blanketly dogging social media, listen, I get social media. Not everybody gets stuff right. I know that in social media, there's people that literally are intentionally thwarting cases and doing stupid stuff. I get that. But call them out. don't be calling social media out in its entirety, because we work very hard to try to make sure the information is accurate. Do we get it 100% right? No, of course not. I'm not a perfect human being, okay? And neither is anybody in my chat. So the mistakes will always happen, but it's whether they're intentional or not, and whether they're corrected or not. So I just think that and I get butthurt. I won't lie. I get butthurt when I hear law enforcement condemning all social media, and I get really butthurt when we have like the Cajun Navy was built on social media. They wouldn't even have the platform they have if it's not for social media. So they're dogging basically their own profession, and it pisses me off. So that's my 2 cents. Doesn't matter. Anyways, you guys have a great day. Happy Monday. Let's kick this week off right. We'll be here all week. And again, this morning's live is being sponsored by all of our channel's subscribers. If you'd like to become a monthly member and become a subscriber, please go up there and hit that subscription button. I think our subscriptions are nominal. It's like $2.99 a month. Like, it's not even a cup of coffee. Cup of coffee is more expensive than the subscription, and your subscription goes to good causes on this channel, and it's usually geared toward search efforts, flyers, a whole bunch of stuff. So we're going to be getting out there, and when we do, we're going live, and I'm taking you guys literally everywhere. So we'll talk to you soon. God bless.